Basically what's going to happen is, I've emailed it already, what's going to happen is we're going to have 5 minute speeches from each of your candidates. After everyone's given their speech, we'll have about 20 minutes where you can ask questions. You can ask sort of specific questions about manifesto points, or you can ask sort of general questions to everyone. I think that's all we're going to hear from me. If there are some questions, by the way, please make it a question. If you want to sort of stand up and make political points or whatever, you should be up here, not over here. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Christina and Clair.
Yes. Cool. So, firstly, I would like to apologise wholeheartedly for my opportunely timed birthday this week. It has been rumoured that I only had my birthday this week to get extra publicity for the presidential campaign. But funnily enough, 20 years ago, when I was being born, presidency and how best to win the elections wasn't really on my mind. But having said that, standing for this position isn't something that I come to lightly. I really do care about my fellow students, and I think I've demonstrated this consistently during my time here, first as charity rep and then more so as your welfare officer. I've absolutely loved being on the JCR committee and working with this team, and I've spent hours making sandwiches. I've introduced postal chlamydia testing with Joe and set up inter-college peer support with Keeble and Somerville. And I spent almost every waking minute running around college during Freshers Week, making sure that everyone was happy. And I've had battles with college faculty advocating for student welfare with regard to academic discipline, intermission and course suspension, confidentiality and transparency of college procedures. So I'd like to say that I'm not scared to disagree with the authorities and advocate for students by presenting valid reasons for this disagreement with college. And in my opinion, the role of the president is not to revolutionise the JCR, but to facilitate your elected representatives in their work and to relay your views to college. I see it as someone who listens to the needs and the wants and the deepest, darkest desires of the JCR and pursues them accordingly. So I could come here this evening with glamorous promises, but if elected, I will listen to you and I will follow through on ideas that you think are important. The JCR president sits on a bunch of college committees, including governing body and Canal committee and educational policy, and I am confident that I will accurately and impartially represent and relay your interests and your concerns. I think one issue with the JCR and with the JCR committee is that living memory in college just isn't there because of the quick turnaround of students. Most of us are only here for 3 or 4 years, so we don't know what's happened in the past, what has worked and what hasn't. So to combat this, I'd maintain communication with ex-officers, look through the records and talk to other colleges who experience similar issues to us. And to move forward as a JCR, I think we need to build on the experience and the success of the previous committees and also reflect upon any shortcomings so that we don't keep repeatedly trying things that we know to be unsuccessful. I think the makeover of the Graves Room, for example, has been an ongoing process. And whilst I agree with other candidates' proposals to improve communal spaces, I think my role as president would be to reflect on why current methods haven't yet worked and work out a strategy for moving forward on this and on many other similar issues. So in addition to the expected duties of the president and my own commitment to actively listening to you, I'd like to offer you 3 kind of tangible proposals. Firstly, I will create a rents and charges subcommittee to collect and analyse as much information as possible so that we can present the strongest case to governing body on rents and charges negotiations. I'd involve any students who were interested and passionate and competent to work alongside me and the relevant JCR and MCR officials. And this isn't something that I've had to do before, and to ensure the best deal for you and for all the other students, it's not something that I would plan to do alone. Secondly, I would support the officers in increasing the presence and awareness of student campaigns and issues, and this would involve working with welfare and equalities officers to increase the presence of liberation and equality campaigns. So I do this through strong collaboration and sharing of knowledge with other colleges, with the Student Union outside, and with resources from outside the university. And my third and final point involves the future of students once, or in some cases if, they leave St John's. I find that the Oxford Careers Network is great if you want to be a lawyer or work in finance or become a management consultant, but not everyone wants to work in these fields, myself included. and I would work alongside the MCR and the Alumni and Developments Relations team to get more information available to students and to reach out to those who feel that the Oxford-wide careers network is inaccessible and doesn't reflect their goals. Yes, so I've probably talked for long enough, but I'll finish by saying that I genuinely believe my background and intricate knowledge of the problems that students face and the barriers to their well-being and how to improve these puts me in a fantastic frame of mind and position to be a good president. It would be an absolute privilege to be president, and I promise to listen, to facilitate discussion, not to exclude anyone from having a voice, and to endeavour to solve the problems and carry out the ideas that you think are important. So, thank you for listening.
Christina. My magical random number generator on here has now selected Danny Waldman.
Hello everyone, and thank you all for coming. You know what? I think something that's really important is that a president can connect to their JCR. So I'm going to try and do that a little bit tonight, hence the rather stupidly disguised speech on the floor. So now I'm literally speechless. Number one, what I want to talk about is why I want to run for JCR president and why it's important to me. A lot of people have said to me, you know, Danny, why are you doing this? It's going to be a lot of work. A lot of it is going to be behind the scenes. You're not going to be thanked for it. And my friends who I've talked to about this know that I'm being genuine when I say that doesn't bother me. I really think that the JCR president shouldn't be doing it because they want to get something out of it, or that they, and I'm not at all suggesting that either of the other candidates are, but I'm just saying this is important for me, that it's something you're doing for other people. You're volunteering, you're giving up your time. I mean, only today, I was at ALSU interviewing the vice presidents and president as the chair of scrutiny committee. I mean, who's going to read my scrutiny report and give me a medal? Nobody's going to read that, give me a medal. No one's going to read it at all. But it's important, and I think it's important that the JCR president believes what they're doing is important and recognises the service they're giving to other people before themselves. And that's something that really is genuinely quite a concern to me. And I just wanted to communicate that to you. That's why I'm running. So, this is difficult for you guys, sorry. Number two, some policies. I really shouldn't have thrown that away now because all the policies are on there. First of all, renovating common room spaces. That is something that is really very deeply important to me. I think we do have some great spaces, but we could do so much more with them. I mean, if you go to other colleges, you look at their bars, you look at their JCRs, they're fantastic. And ours aren't bad, but they could be better. College have made good noises about this in the past. You know, they've been willing to have architects come in. They've been willing to even give us a budget. I think this is something we really, really should get the ball rolling with this year, and that's what I would really want to do. I mean, it would depend what you wanted, obviously, how far we would go with this. Do you want a new building? I mean, that's quite ambitious. It's something that would be very, very long term. I would never accomplish it, but it's something we could get the ball rolling on. Do you want a completely redesigned space? Do you just want new things in the room you already have? These are questions I would be asking you and then taking to college to get a budget and fight for. My number two policy is the advocacy scheme that I think is really important for students that are undergoing troubles, facing tribunals, hearings with college where they don't understand the rules, they don't know what it is they should be saying, their head is already not in the right place because they're facing these difficulties. And here is a board of people they've never met, basically deciding their future. I don't think that's right. And I know the welfare officers, and I absolutely know 100%, there's so much support and advice, and that is fantastic. And even they can sit in the interview with you. That is also fantastic. What they can't do and what college doesn't recognise is them speaking for you. And as a lawyer, even if I hate my degree, I recognise how important representation is. And I think that's something we should really try and import here. Working with ALSU, whatever. I think that's something we should really fight for. Number three, our constitution is a bit of a mess. That's another boring thing, but I think the JCR president really has to address. Our constitution is a bit of a mess. We don't really have a place where you can find exactly what all the officers and reps are really supposed to be doing with reference to previous achievements, what they've been doing in the past. I think continuity of role is something that will be very important. Standing policy, you know, we don't know really what previous people have tried to do. Things get dropped. once a year we have a meeting where we go through standing policy, we go down a list of names and just say yes, 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 yes. We don't know what any of it means. I think that's something else we really need to address. And also, a fair and open and clear complaints procedure, I think, would also be of great benefit. What else did I want to do? What else did I want to do? Oh yes, investment. So, leave that there. We don't really know what it is our college invests in. We have a massive endowment. Oh, okay. Well, we have a massive endowment. I think that'd be something the E&E officers could really work with me next year in investigating to make sure we're not investing in things we don't believe in and things that we disagree with. There were some other policies, but they're on the floor now. And just to finish, I want to say, whoever you vote for, I think this has been a great race and you will get a very good president. I'll be first to shake the hand of either of these two if they win and say well done. Honestly, I will.